There's a certain anxiety that was in this. This is the angst or the dynamic within him. I'm not judging the good or bad, I'm just pointing out these factors are there. And the guilts and the confusions and the anxieties would fuel his need to understand them. Yet they would be there, yet he would have them, yet he's working and advising people on how to deal with exactly those things. But how is he living to it himself? Whew. Puzzle. Okay. So he had his fixed realms and his practical way of knowing what he had to do, lived up, he did what he had to do, he kept the marriage, he kept the other things, nobody's business, different worlds. But because of those personal things, it would create demands on him being physically well enough to go out and to do things. You could see as he got older, he wanted to be more isolated alone because he didn't, the conflict of the two sides were there. And but bringing up kids and teaching them how to be and not living it yourself, interesting puzzle. They wouldn't see it either, but it was, in today's world, that'd be a harder, I think it would be a harder balance to maintain. Okay, I'll leave the Uranus for now. Let's go to the Neptune and Pluto. His Neptune, we basically talked about, it squares his ascendant and his sun and his descendant. So from the second house of man, values, resources, self-worth. Your third house is your communicating, your expressions, but here's collecting rewards and what money he has, what money he didn't. He would have great confusions about his values, about resources, and they would affect his identity. So there's this part of him that was very aloof, very the shy, the inhibited, the disassociative person, the very aloof person is definitely there. That he would feel aloof, detached, there, and have trouble living up to other people's expectations. Like, people are paying me to help them. I'm trying to solve their problems. I can't even solve my own. I'm trying to help them solve theirs. And you could see this puzzle that's there. So Neptune causes, it's Taurus, has dreams about financial reality and stability and fascination being valuable, which you saw his whole chart is built around. But it's in the second house of resources, and his visions of how to get money, he didn't get it for himself. He married someone to make sure he had it. He was taken care of that way. And that affected his identity and his, it created his stability, but at a cost. These are my opinions. I'm just looking into, I'm reading into it, making associations around it. And if I'm proven wrong, okay. But just, I'm going from the chart and seeing the points and trying to read into it from the things that I know. And I'm not the foremost Jungian specialist, but I've read a little bit and I know a little bit about his life. You know, he certainly has affected me with his teachings. He certainly played a great role in the world that affected millions of people and changed the way psychology and people thought about images, about mythology, he just opened up something that nobody else did. It's like, other than just scientifically. But he did bridge a gap here. That was something really special. So he certainly was a special being on the planet, had a special presence, lived it out, that he had personal vulnerabilities and personally, we all got them. Okay. So he might have a tremendous aversion to any type of speculation or investment, like that Neptune could cause that, yet he would be able to have a source where he could get it, but he's dependent on it. It would not bother him, but he could use it. And it normally wouldn't be a bother because it's for the marriage, it's making everything go, but he had two sides. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna take the Pluto. Pluto, two things, it's squared to Saturn and opposed to midheaven, conjunct the IC. So really the conjunction the IC and conjunct the moon are the two powerful points of Pluto. It's in Taurus. We don't see the signs so much. It's in the third house of having to have knowledge, what's true, what's not true, having battles of knowledge, like between him and Freud over what's true, what's not true, between maybe other people, around the kids, around brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts. I don't really hear about those things in his life, it's like he had the two worlds solidified so that it wouldn't challenge his thinking. That's kind of perhaps a normal way. But he certainly had the powerful thinking, the confrontational thinking, and an intolerance for any untruth. Well, that's a tall order to hold, but he certainly had the insightfulness to get down to the roots of complexes and problems and to express motives and see how people were expressing motives. It's just, as you can see how people only express motives, how many people have good motives to express or are doing it well? How much baggage do you have to take? How much do you have to respond to? He could get burned out and have to recharge. So then his escapes for his mystical side of things would bring out the imagination and the chance to go to another level. But the demands of his knowledge on his education, one, he had to get his degree, his PhD, he fought to be established, he had to fight to get his teachings, and he brought out new concepts and powerful concepts that threatened to establish psychotherapy and psychology. So he's a powerful thinker, Pluto in the third house, not an easy thinker, smart, intense. If anything, a little overly serious to Pluto on the Saturn. But it opposed the ascendant, so he thought more, he was stronger in his insight than the status or position would support him, the Scorpio midheaven. But in terms of expressing his motive and what motivated him, he could see that clearly, absolutely, and be really precisely insightful on that, or seeing the motives of others and knowing how to respond to it and coming up with something breakthrough, something insightful to say, or helping people to get to that same point. At the same time, there's this dynamic of having to be patient and tolerant, at the same time being totally intolerant to people, not listening to what he would say, and coming back with the same problem again. It would bug him. We would try and keep making a progress to evolve it through. Okay. The next point is the motive. We saw the sun, really important. The moon, the sun, most important factors. The IC, what motivates him, where you're coming from, the deepest point in your chart, where the umbilical cord of your body to your soul. You know, it's just how we're connected to our spirit. Our spirit comes in motivated by what? And then we project that motivation out into the world. It builds up to a status, and then we start responding to others, and we take things back in, and we see whether we've done things to reinforce our motivation or to diminish it. And this is the cycle of the houses projecting out and taking back in. His IC's in Taurus. I need to live my own way. I need to be more independent. I need to be more independent. I need to work things through. I have my own values, Venus rulership. I'm fixed in it. I need to have stability. I'm motivated by stability, beauty, comfort, charm, appreciation, or negatively, repulsion, hate, disgust, envy. All of those things are the negative side of it. So as a counselor, he's going to have to deal with people who have envy and other problems. He might have some of his own, but he's motivated by that. It's ruled by Venus in the sixth house of motivated to be of service to other people, where he could be appreciated. So getting paid and being appreciated for his ideas of what's valuable and what would provide stability or security or improve someone's self-worth. It's a strong point. Okay, so the Pluto conjunctus means it adds really harshness in early life, fears around birth, and having to express what's true regardless of the opposition and holding on. So that's his really intelligent insight and power of insight, that it conjuncts the IC, but it affects his motivation. So he gets motivated. Once he's motivated on something, he'll get fixed. He'll be determined and he'll live it no matter what. That's the Pluto conjunct the IC. And both opposing the midheavens, not in the best interest career, but he'll get there not because the career wants him to. He gets there because he has to say something. He has something true. Nobody's listening about synchronicity. Nobody's listening about his way or approach, but people were. He just took his stand and held it strongly. At the same time, if it was talking about communication to kids or to family, he would be very severe, very strict, very fixed. He wanted to be appreciated, take care of things, but it would be difficult to try and tell him what to do or try to communicate with him. There's on a certain level, like one way, yes. Another way, there's going to be barriers. So it's not an easy person to be close to. But he needs the personal challenges, the mentors, the challenges, because he would thrive by these challenges of Pluto and the IC to really reach his depth. So his relationship to Freud was a very potent, poignant one. And even though he broke away, he was profoundly influenced. And it helped formulate his own values that he would need to express. Okay, now the IC squared by Saturn, so there's the inhibition. I can't get there and go, can I really do this? There's the need to be serious about working on to get what he wants or trying to be accomplished, to work. It's going to take an effort to express my motives. First, the power is the Pluto, then the work, Saturn. And he does all the work. But what response would he get? Hard to say. You know, most people don't get necessarily appreciated in his lifetime. He was appreciated towards the end of his lifetime tremendously, but he was feeling more isolated at that time. It trines the ascendant, but the key to this IC here is sextiles to his sun, so it's like his ability to express motives or see the motives of others fairly easily. It's semi-square to Venus, but it's the conjunction to Pluto that's the powerful, intense motive, and the square to Saturn that are the powerful factors on this. The sensitivity to power complexes, to what's true, what's not, and having to find out the answers to it.